Hello, everybody. It's DK, and on behalf of the leadership group, we want to bring you something new. We're calling them the Theta Logs. They're going to be little weekly updates to kind of show what we've been working on, what's to come in between our community calls. To kick it off, we got Knox coming this week. We finished the incremental audit. We'll begin the documentation back on that after the holiday tomorrow. The plan is to release all the smart contracts on Wednesday. We'll be having an AMA on Thursday, and then on Friday, if you're a willing participant, you can come in and participate in those auctions that will be they'll be conducted roughly in the morning Eastern time on Friday. The white paper, finally released the white paper. You can go to premium.finance/v3.pdf or on our Twitter if you want a link there. We ask all of the community to go in, take a look, give it a read. Let it simmer for a bit and come in Discord, discuss with us if you have any questions on how we're doing things, how things are changing from V2. Obviously, we're still expecting the end of the quarter for implementation and the upgrades of the contracts on the protocol itself. However, we wanted to bring everyone in and let them get a taste of what's to come if you weren't around beforehand. We'll be announcing some Threader and light paper based community tasks or bounties in the upcoming weeks, but I'll leave that to KB. In terms of what else is going on extracurricularly, we had the VX Premia snapshot vote for the ratification of the proposal process. Now that is going to be ongoing till Friday, so if you're not voted on that, it goes in there and vote on that. We are participating in the elections to be a protocol delegate for Optimism. So if you have some OP tokens and you haven't voted in that, that's open for 2 more days. We are trying to become more of an active member in that ecosystem, and that's a good first step for us. The leaderboard for trading, liquidity providers, and staking is finally coming to a close in terms of production. That was another bounty that we had out there. Matthias put that together for us. So that's finally ready to go. That's probably going to be hosted on our community site. If you haven't seen our community site, premium.community, it's kind of like our beta release area. We have some token gated things in there. If you're a Diamond Hands holder, we release a lot of the stuff before we move it over to the main site just to get some feedback on. So it's always a good place to take a peek. We're starting a newsletter that will be beginning shortly. We have some contributors in the community and some contributors that we also found via bounties that are going to be putting that together. We're going to be covering a wide array of things, whether that be DeFi options, the problems that need to be solved in the area, or governance challenges, and then also specifically Premia updates, both quantitative and qualitative. Some more to come on that. In terms of the DeFi Llama updates that a lot of you have been asking for in the Discord, that PR was submitted last night. That should be merged sometime the next day or so. That allows some more transparency into the premiums that are collected within the protocol, as well as the fees that are collected and given and distributed to staking users. And then the last big thing that if you may not have known is we had planning on moving over the core liquidity over from Ethereum to Arbitrum. So that migration will be taking place before the Knox implementation, because the Knox implementation will also be solely on Arbitrum. So if you have any concerns there, come in the Discord, but we will make sure to announce when that is taking place so that everyone's aware. But our core depth of liquidity will be moving to Arbitrum. On the development side of things, thanks to him who put together, he did some analysis on bridged premia and how that was going to the calculations. It was a relatively minor calculation issue. It didn't affect the emissions or anything, but that was resolved within 48 hours of it being brought up. But nonetheless, Minim, we gave a bounty for providing that information to us. You may have noticed with the layer 3 quests that the RPC endpoints may have gone a little slow. The site might have been loading a little slow, and so it was good exercise for us for V3 in terms of what the capacity that we could hit and the thresholds. And so we've put in some fail safes and some fallback plans to kind of alleviate that in the future, including additional RPC providers outside of Infura like Llama Nodes and Alchemy. And then last but not least, the subgraph was updated to include all of the Knox metrics that we will need for the front end. And then with that is what has allowed us to add the additional transparency within DeFi Llama and soon Token Terminal. On the statistics side, since the beginning of the month, 3 million in increase in TVL has done with some of the staking side of the liquidity, as well as some additional token inflows. That is 30% in USD, 15% in ETH. The volume for the first week over week, playing some catch up here. Last week of December was a relatively slow week. However, we had a 30% increase in the first week of December, and then a relatively unchanged week at 3.18 million volume for this last second week of January. Now, other things that we're kind of thinking about: delegation. Currently, VX Premia does not support delegation. However, we're looking to implement that in the near future after the V3 update. Now, there are different ways to do delegation, and we're going to think hard about this. So if you have any concerns or ideas, please come in. But we found some implementations that seem promising. EIP 5805, which is not it's still an in progress EIP, but it kind of brings some standardization within the delegation framework. We kind of like that. For composability, obviously Knox will be the 4626 standard, which you may have seen with some of the other vaults, specifically Yearn. Now, what that means is, because it is a standard framework, that you can integrate with other protocols more easily. There's some cool stuff that you could potentially do with like Timeless with their negative and positive yield-bearing tokens. So if you have any ideas about that, please come to the Discord and discuss it with us. And last but not least, in terms of V3 development, we're coming to the final steps of the base layer and the factory. And then next up for us is margin liquidity mining, omni-chain routing, and then also some Oracle adapters, so that you can utilize many different oracles, not just Chainlink oracles, in our permissions pool deploying. All right. Thank you, everyone. And just to reinforce, please go and read that white paper if you have not. We're really proud about it, really happy with the work that our research team has done. It's been a year in the making, and we'll talk to you again next week.